The divine presence of Spirit is nearer to us than our own breath. Our spiritual journey is guided by the infinite in every moment. No matter that we may forget, Spirit knows, sees, and remembers our perfection. Today we celebrate our oneness in thought, in word, and in action. Good morning, I'm Kim O'Connor, and I'm your spiritual guide for the day. This year, our center is collectively reading the Science of Mind textbook in a year, and today's topic is why people become fatigued. So today, when I was reading, or the past week when I was preparing for today and reading this, what came to my mind, it briefly talks a little bit about what we call in Science of Mind race consciousness. And the entire subject of race consciousness is really important in the Science of Mind teaching. And when I first started studying Science of Mind, I did not understand this concept at all. I used to ask a lot of questions of my teachers, and I used to read about it as much as I could because I really wanted to understand, and I just couldn't get it. And then finally, what happened, which has been my experience, is that one day it just makes sense. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I came to how I came to define race consciousness. I'm really nervous today. I don't know why. The last couple of weeks I wasn't nervous, and today my heart's beating really fast. So since we are one divine mind, will you all just join me in taking a deep breath with me? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, every thought I've ever had in my entire lifetime is in my individual consciousness. And to take it a step further, every single thought you have ever had in your entire lifetime is in your individual consciousness. Every single person who has ever lived, all of their thoughts were in their consciousness. And what I think of is, I think of a big, huge container, and all of those thoughts go into that one container. And what we call that is the collective consciousness. So that's how I came to define it. And it worked for me, and I hope that that works for you. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of that. The other day I was meeting a girlfriend of mine for coffee. And we don't know each other very well. I recently moved to the desert about a year ago. And so we were talking about how both of us came to move to the desert. So she used to live in Los Angeles, and a very wealthy community. And the only reason why I say that is because she tells me she moved here in 2009. And for those of you who listen to the news, there's a word that you hear a lot in the news. It's called recession. And so that was already taking place during this time. And so I asked her, when you sold your house, did you lose any money? Did you do okay with that? And she said, no, I didn't. Everything turned out great. And she said, this is the important part, I don't listen to the news. I don't pay attention to it. So I had no idea that there was a recession going on. And so it never occurred to me that I would have a problem selling my house, and it never occurred to me that I would get less than what I asked for. And so I said to her, well, that's interesting, because you didn't put out any negative energy, nothing negative came out of it. And she said no. So to me that was just a perfect example, and I'll give you one more. When I was a little girl, my sister and I were playing one day, and we were playing in the family room, and we were being really loud, and I think I was about maybe in 3rd grade, she was maybe about 5th grade, and so we were getting louder and louder, and we were just having a lot of fun. It was a Saturday morning. And what we always did on Saturday morning is we went and watched cartoons all morning. And it was like my favorite morning in the week. So anyhow, we're watching cartoons and we're just having fun. And then pretty soon my dad comes in, who had been sleeping. And so he said, now my dad had a very loud voice. And my dad was also a career Marine. So when he said something, you know, you immediately were quiet and listened to what he said. And so anyhow, he said, oh, I should tell you, I'm an American Indian, Native American. We're full-blooded. And what that means is that we have a lot of stories that our parents have told us, that their parents, so it's gone down, 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 down throughout time. So my dad tells us this story. He said, when I was a little boy, my grandfather told me this story, and I'm going to share it with you. He said that if you laugh too much early in the morning, it means that you will cry later in the day. And he said, if you don't want to cry later, then I suggest you stop laughing. And that's a true story, right? I used to hear these kind of stories all the time. And so what happened is we immediately went, and I'm going to tell you, throughout my lifetime, whenever something would happen in the morning and I would start to laugh, I would always remember that, and I would immediately stop. I would immediately stop myself from laughing and being happy and joyous throughout my entire lifetime. Then what happens is, I'm in practitioner studies, and the first year is very intense and very devoted. You're just looking at yourself and your beliefs. And so one day, I don't remember what happened, but I remembered that. I remembered that story, and I remembered how to that day, I'd never allowed myself to laugh or be happy in the morning. And I made a decision in that moment. I set my intention. I understood in that moment that that story was not true if I didn't want it to be true. That I could be happy in the morning and not cry later that day, or I could be happy and cry later that day, and either one was okay. And I remember what a profound breakthrough that was for me, because I understood how half of my life, really, I didn't allow myself to be happy. Now, was my father a bad guy for telling me that story? No, because my father believed it too. Was my great-grandfather a bad guy for telling that story? No, because one of his ancestors told that story too. See, this is what we talk about race consciousness. And we don't even know, I don't even know a lot of things, how they started or where they started or why they started. I've just been told it's true, and so I believe it's true. And what I found out, what I've come to find in Science of Mind, is that I co-create my life. That can either be scary or that can be really great. It just depends on how I look at it. That kind of used to scare me. That used to sound like a lot of responsibility to me. And I don't know if that responsibility was something that I really wanted. However, the more that I studied Science of Mind and the more that I looked at my beliefs and what could happen if I changed them, how my life changed when I changed my thoughts, the more I became willing to let go of those old ideas. And the more I became willing to let go of that box that I had put myself in. So, as a co-creator of my life, what I have found is that in moments of despair, if I can replace those moments with joy, and if I can replace those moments of fear with love, and if I can replace discord with harmony, all of those are attributes of God. Harmony, peace, love, joy, every single beautiful thing you can think of is God expressing itself through you. And through me as well. And so what I've come to find is that Science of Mind has truly changed my life. Now, you've been listening to me talk about it for the last 3 weeks. But what I want to say to you is that I really do know for you and for myself that everything is possible, and it just begins with changing your thoughts, one thought at a time. Letting go and letting God. What's the word? Uncovering, discovering, and discarding. And in practitioner studies, one of my papers was called that. Uncovering, discovering, and discarding. And that's what I've had the opportunity to do. And that's what I wish for you, that opportunity, because it truly is beautiful. It's a beautiful life. I didn't know that for a long time, but I do now, and I'm enjoying it, I'm embracing it, and I hope you are too. Let's go within. Into that secret, sacred place of the Most High God. Into that center deep within you where Spirit resides and abides. I am aware of the one presence, one life, and one spirit which I call good and I call God.